Peace, family, and welcome to DenaliVision. Before we get into it, I have to go ahead and take a minute to send my condolences and love to a dear friend of mine's family who I found out the other day had passed. His name is Darius Griffin. And if you remember Darius, then you'll never forget his laugh. And if you remember Denali, and if you ever knew Denali, you will never forget his smile. So I just want to go ahead and take a minute of silence so we can go ahead and remember them and any of those that have been lost in your life. May God rest all of their souls. All right, family. I'm your host, LeVar Anderson, and I'm bringing nothing but facts. I'm a father on a quest for justice, and it has been one hell of a fight. When I saw corruption, I was forced to find the truth on my own. I couldn't swallow the hypocrisy. Barry White. To those who cling to power through corruption and deceit and the silencing of dissent, know that you are on the wrong side of history, but that we will extend a hand if you are willing to unclench your fists. Barack Obama. This is my raw and unfiltered truth of how one man, my son, was murdered by the city, tortured by the county, and buried by the state. So let's get into it. An ambiguous justice system is a dangerous one because it allows for the concept to be misused, neglected, or worse, weaponized. Now you might ask, how can a justice system be ambiguous? Well, it's open to more than one interpretation, having a double meaning. It's capable of being understood, well, in this case, misunderstood in two or more senses or ways. It's been doubtful or uncertain, especially from obscurity or indistinctness. I mean, the evidence is plain as day for it to slide into obscurity. This case, the murder of my son, Denali Anderson, has involved an attempt to subvert the rule of its own law, and the Pasco, Washington, Franklin County justice system as a whole needs to be dealt with accordingly. Now we're going to make this video brief but powerful, and I want to start off by reading Section 35, the Crime Victims' Rights in the Washington State's Constitution. Rights that are awarded to everyone. Now, to ensure victims a meaningful role in the criminal justice system and to accord them due dignity and respect, victims are hereby granted the following basic and fundamental rights. Now, we're going to go ahead and skip down here to where it reads, in the event the victim is deceased, incompetent, a minor, or otherwise unavailable, the prosecuting attorney may identify a representative to appear to exercise the victim's rights. Now, my son is obviously deceased. He was murdered. It was an execution, a hit with 3 cartloads of suspects involved, murdered by the city. And the prosecuting attorney may identify a representative to appear to exercise the victim's rights. Now, they've appointed a so-called advocate who's been nothing but hostile and dismissive towards our family and belittles us and further victimizes us. I myself have tried to be a representative with every door slammed in my face. So who's going to speak for my son, Denali Anderson? And who's going to ensure that our victims' rights in the Washington State Constitution are upheld and are not continually being violated by the Franklin County judicial system as a whole? So let's start reading, right? Now, victims' rights in Washington State statute, okay? The following is summarized from what is known as the Crime Victims Bill, all right? So here they are. Those are the bills there. For the complete statute, go to 7.69.030, all right? So we're going to go ahead and click on that, the complete statute, so that we're not summarizing. So now, Washington State Legislature, the complete statute reads, rights of victims, survivors, and witnesses. Rights of victims, survivors, and witnesses. Survivors. There shall be reasonable effort made to ensure that victims, survivors of victims, and witnesses of crimes have the following rights, which apply to any adult or juvenile criminal proceeding and any civil commitment proceeding under Chapter 79.09 RCW. Now, number 1, subsection A. With respect to the victims of violent crimes, to receive at the time of reporting the crime to law enforcement officials a written statement of the rights of crimes victims as provided in this chapter. So, there was no need to report a murder. A murder occurred and officers began conducting their investigation. This written statement shall include the name, address, and telephone number of a county or local crime victim/witness program, if such crime victim witness program exists in the county. Okay, like I said, I'm going to keep it brief and we're going to only read one today. There are 16 crime victims' rights in total. All of them have pretty much been violated by Franklin County prosecutors, police, and judges. And just going down the list, we can establish that all of the rights have been violated in some form or way of another. So, according to victims' rights and violation number 1, going down the list, is from our quote unquote advocate. All right. So, on January 11th, 2023, now mind you, the murder occurred August 6th, 2022. This is January. The advocate writes us back, hello, no name, who cares? You're not that important to even address properly. I appreciate that. Frank said that he spoke with Latanya and she indicated the family read somewhere. Now, we read somewhere. Now, mind you, those are state-given rights to everyone. But according to the advocate, we had to read somewhere about statements of crime victims' rights that responding officers provide, and that was requested. We've been requesting that information since August, never got it until January. Again, as a survivor of the victim, they are automatically supposed to give us this crime victims' rights information. The advocate writes, I don't have the card/brochure that law enforcement hands out, but you might be able to get that from the detective, and I have CC'd him on that email. Still haven't received any email from him or any correspondence over 16 months later. The email continues to read, I have attached a brochure that we have in our office. Oops. Let me go ahead and cover my ass, since the family has been asking about their victims' rights since August, and this is January. I have attached a brochure that we have in our office that crime victims' rights and other victim information. Okay, so what she sends me is these little attachments right here. All right, this was in the email. These two little attachments. So I'm like, what the hell is this? Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and blow up the first page of the attachments that she's seen, and this is what you get. Now, this is directly from Sean Saint, Franklin County prosecutor. Here's all of his information right here. You know, Sean Saint, who loves talking to the Herald but won't talk to me, you know, or any of our family. You can see all of his information there. The pamphlet reads, crime victim and witness assistant, Franklin County Prosecutor's Office. Okay, so Crime Victims Bill of Rights. Wait a minute. So this is basically the Washington State Constitution of victims' rights. So you did have the information, huh? Oh, I do not have the card/brochure law enforcement hands out, but you were able to send the victims' rights directly from Sean Saint's office. Okay, great, thanks. So, violation number 1, to be provided a written statement of the rights of crime victims. No written statement. This is a brochure that I got after declaring for 5 months when we would be given our rights, before our rights were even acknowledged. Violation number 1 of crime victims' rights in the Washington State Constitution on behalf of quote unquote advocate Tina Carmona. How many other families before me has she left with no solace? Now you see what I mean. And we're only at number one. Okay? I'm asking family, what little young law grad wants to go 1-0? Who's ready to go ahead and set their mark by taking down a giant in its own right? Or what experienced juggernaut is willing to be merciless in pursuit of punitive recompense? It's time, family, to go after the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office and bring charges against them for violating all of our victims' rights, and it's on paper. Please leave a civil rights attorney's name, contact information, a lead, I'm asking, in the comment section. Go ahead and share and subscribe. We turning up the heat. The suspects just had a pretrial yesterday, and it was a circus. I get reprimanded for asking a question about a warrant to be issued, and you should have seen these guys throwing up gang signs, hooping and hollering, not listening, disrespecting everyone. It was a total shit show. No judge said, hey, attorneys, you need to get control of your clients. The judge didn't even say, hey, you guys are showing absolutely no remorse. They're animals. But we need to go for the juggler. Bring him down. And I'll never forget those who fight with me for justice. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'd like to say peace to my son, my brother, my friend. I walk in your strength, legacy, and power today and every day. Crime victims' rights violation number 1. We'll get into the rest. Peace, family.